While capitalism undoubtedly uplifted people from poverty and is one, if not the best system the Western world has ever seen, it is meant to die sooner than later, and here's why. The engine of capitalism is growth. Political success and legitimacy is determined by the economic stability and growth of a nation. Growth, on the other hand, can be dismantled to two entities: population and innovation. Let's say we have a nation with stagnant innovation, but a poor and growing population. Such a nation would massively grow by uplifting people from poverty by creating work, increasing medical availability, thus people live and work longer, and tunneling this into further projects so upcoming generations benefit from this growth. Now, let's say we have a nation with a stagnating population. Let's further say that living conditions are at top levels, be it medical availability, overall income, or unemployment rate having all top values. In such a case, a nation would only grow by innovation, meaning machines doing the work of others so human workforce can be allocated to other jobs, further increasing the growth, or to be more precise, the GDP of a nation. However, the benefits such growth bring are also equally the problem. As the living conditions for people get better and as people have more options to live their life, with for example having more career options, people have less children, and each and every case in any developed country shows us that the fertility rate of a nation goes below sustainable levels. Meaning one engine of growth and with it capitalism is being hampered and worst case entirely cut off. This can be compensated with immigration, however, that also has its fair share of consequences. One of it being that the original population of a nation is ultimately destined to be replaced by immigrants. This is not a process that is going to happen over decades, but over centuries it will happen. Of course, these people can assimilate, overall neglecting the impact of immigration, but a replacement is still going to happen. A more fundamental problem is present with the second engine of growth: innovation. One key pillar of innovation is the ever increasing computation speed of electronic devices, enabling innovations and upgrading existing technologies. However, the core problem is that there is a physical limit to the computational speed of such devices, which is the speed of electrons. A more comprehensive insight is given in this article, but long story short, before reaching the physical limit, the software, aka the algorithm, can be improved, increasing the speed of computers or electronic devices in general for the next couple of decades at least. But an ultimate limit will at one point be reached regardless. Of course, people could argue here that other fields might contribute more than electronic devices, and that we might discover even entirely new fields of disciplines, further fueling innovations. However, and that's the fundamental problem, we live in a universe with finite amount of laws. At one point, we will reach a point where we discovered everything or close to everything our moral views allow. Why moral views? Because morals can and do limit the direction science can take. Human experiments might result in discoveries further increasing the possibilities of mankind and thus bringing even more innovation, but it is against our moral values, which is why we will never do human experiments. Another core issue which goes hand in hand with this problem is the fact that we have finite resources available. It's unlikely that we will reach a society in the scope seen in Star Wars, but even in the off chance that we do, we're still in a universe with finite resources available. The universe might be ever expanding, but not material. Two things can be concluded with the thought process done here. Capitalistic societies are forced to have a policy of immigration if they don't want to collapse. First cracks of more developed societies can be seen in Far Eastern nations such as Japan, China, and Korea, which yet can compensate the lack of decreasing population with innovation. But as we have concluded, innovation is not going to increase forever, and the availability of resources are not increasing either, at least not anytime soon. Second, at one point, if we can't commercialize space in the sense of we have spaceships going around bringing resources at an acceptable speed and time frame, we're going to run out of resources to increase innovation, and if we have sufficient resources, we will run out of things to innovate or discover, ultimately resulting in the stagnation, if not shrinking, economies, and in worst case, the collapse of society. Knowing this, one of three things can and ultimately will happen. First, we can exploit the resources of the universe in a reasonable manner and start an age of space exploration, continuing capitalism for the unforeseeable future. Second, We revamp our entire society and economies. No more unlimited consumption, no more growth based societies. 3. Our societies collapse into anarchy. Now, one or the other might argue we still have enough to discover, so it's unlikely that we would have to think about any of that in the foreseeable future. Quantum mechanics, physics alone may or may not give us stuff to think about for the next couple of hundred years alone. However, innovation is strongly connected to the available resources, and certain resources are reaching critical points in the next decades. We will have to think about this topic within this century and come up with an alternative in order to not crash our societies into a wall. A sustainable green society might tone the consequences of critical resources down and might give us more time, but time is ultimately working against us.